Sometimes it makes me feel like that, where a person can't find themselves in some questions. Where did I come from? Where am I going? This path, this journey, where is this traveler heading? Since the soul is pure, essence, perfect, after all, it is a piece that comes from the Creator. So then why does it come to this world? If it was already pure and perfect as a soul, what was missing? These questions lead us to contemplate one of humanity's most ancient issues: the soul's journey of evolution. Evolution is not actually learning, but remembering. There is a big difference between knowing something and grasping it through experience. Forgetting is actually the first step in lifting the veil. In Sufism, forgetting is seen not as a deficiency, but as a necessity. Hello everyone. Life sometimes confronts a person with big questions, doesn't it? At times, we start to sense the presence of something much greater behind what we call ourselves. As Yunus Emre says, there is an I within me, deeper than me. That I sometimes makes one feel in such a way that they cannot escape certain questions. Where did I come from? Where am I going? This path, this journey, where is this traveler headed? These questions lead us to ponder one of humanity's oldest issues: the journey of the soul's evolution. Because what we call the soul is not merely an abstract concept, but the essence of our being. It is what gives meaning to this entire transformation experience. Since the soul is pure, essential, perfect, and already a piece from God, then why does it come to this world? If the soul was already pure and perfect, what was missing? What is being sought? If everything has a reason, then why this state of forgetfulness, of being cast here? If the soul was already free, why was it imprisoned in this body? If it was already perfect, why does it need development? Why so many questions? What journey is this? On the journey of finding ourselves, today I wanted us to pursue these questions together. What is it that we call maturation? Have you ever thought about it exactly? Evolution is not actually learning, but remembering. There is a big difference between knowing something and understanding it through experience. You can tell a child that fire burns, but to really understand, they need to feel its heat. The soul is also a part of the divine truth. However, in order to become aware of this through experience and to reveal the perfection and potential within itself, it embarks on this journey. Human existence is actually a stage of this process. Doesn't the verse in the Quran tell us this? We offered the trust to the heavens, the earth, and the mountains, but they declined to bear it. But humans undertook it. However, we chose to come to this world so that we could discover our own truth by experiencing challenges. Now, this is important. Is the soul the same as consciousness? If consciousness belonged only to this world, wouldn't we completely cease to exist when we die? But we know that's not the case. Consciousness continues after death. There are now countless studies and countless experiences recounted by people on this subject, near-death experiences. In the Quran, there are already numerous verses supporting this. There they say, "O our Lord, take us out of here so we may do good deeds different from what we did." If consciousness were to vanish, this kind of regret would not exist, right? Then consciousness is not just limited to this world. It continues to exist with the soul. But with a broader dimension of awareness, every choice, action, and awareness in life certainly has a consequence. During the world experience, consciousness is veiled by the effects of the mind and ego. So the soul is free, but this is a forgotten freedom. So why is it made to forget? Is it really necessary to evolve? Or is one here just to remember what they've forgotten? Asking such questions is very natural. Forgetting is actually the first step in lifting the veil. In Sufism, forgetting is seen not as a deficiency but as a necessity. If we remembered everything, we could never experience or enter a learning process. Think of it just like a dream. While you are in the dream, you mostly do not realize that it is a dream. However, when you wake up, you say, "Oh, that was a dream." This is exactly how the world is. To remember something, one must first forget. As the veils of the ego are lifted, a person begins to remember, understand, and know their essence and truth. The Shams Surah says, "He who purifies his soul has succeeded, but he who corrupts it has failed." The Quran always speaks about the self being questioned. What is the self here? What are the concepts of heaven and hell actually? We also need to discuss these. Hell is not an eternal destination burning in flames. It is a state of consciousness, a process of purifying the soul. Since the soul is a perfect part of God, an essence, a light, the thing that truly needs purification is our ego. But of course, the soul is affected by the purification experience of the ego. If a person lives in the states of ego, such as hatred, anger, lying, jealousy, selfishness in this world, they have already created a hell within themselves. After death, that consciousness continues, and the soul cannot escape from this state of consciousness until the ego is purified. There are numerous hadiths and verses expressing this topic. For instance, the hadith, "As a servant lives, so shall they die, and as they die, so shall they be resurrected." Or the verse stating, "Whoever is spiritually blind in this world is also blind in the hereafter, and even more astray from the path." But at the end of the day, it is clear that every soul will return to its source, because Allah's mercy encompasses everything. Do not view hell as constant torment or punishment. View it as a process of transformation, healing, and purification. Gold is not found in a pure state in nature. It is often extracted mixed with soil, rock, and other minerals. To purify it, it needs to be melted in fire, refined, and foreign materials separated. The fire is not to destroy gold, but to reveal its essence. The soul is similar. The soul, veiled by the ego and worldly attachments, reaches its pure state through the purification process of the ego. Here, the soul is not burning. Rather, the darkness of the ego is burning away. Fourth, "O tranquil soul, return to your Lord, well pleased and pleasing to him. Enter among my servants. Enter my paradise," says a verse. This means that the purified soul, along with the spirit, goes to paradise. Paradise, like hell, is already a state of consciousness, a level of consciousness. The consciousness of paradise means completely remembering the divine truth, returning to one's essence, to one's purity. As our consciousness tames the ego, it expands. The ego is a mechanism that tests the freedom of the soul and allows for its evolution. This struggle actually forces a person to transform. For example, patience, surrender, love, compassion, humility. Such virtues are only gained by disciplining the ego. If a person truly wants to achieve freedom, they must first break free from the ego's yoke. Consciousness, as an inseparable part of the soul, remains in a narrow perspective under the influence of the self, the ego, and worldly desires in earthly life. However, after death, when these veils are lifted, consciousness reaches a broader level of awareness. That's why developing our consciousness throughout our lives, even as the enlightened say dying before we die, is a critical step for the evolution of our soul. The true test for a person is the ego, because it leads them towards indulgences, pride, ambitions, and lies. Those who do not confront and discipline their ego cannot escape chaos in this life and will continue it after death. There is a reason for being confined to a body, coming into this world, forgetting our essence and being given a self to train. The soul is already free, but it has forgotten its freedom. We experience many things in this world to remember this. This process is not a loss. It is truly a journey aimed at revealing what exists within you. As the soul evolves, it begins to realize the freedom it never truly lost. As it lifts the veil surrounding it, the light that has always been within us starts to shine brighter and become more apparent. Because each new moment of awareness is a step closer to the pure nature of the soul. However, when we purify the self, the soul will fully attain its freedom. This process is a journey that requires effort, will, and determination. The ego forces a person to enter their own cave and confront all the shadows and things they dislike. Sometimes we face dark emotions, sometimes challenges and our fears. But remember that every struggle pushes us to forge a deeper connection with our essence. That's why this journey is never a loss, but a journey of self-discovery. Because true freedom will be attained when the soul becomes free from the illusions of the ego and remembers its truth. And let us not forget, everything is for remembering. As we rediscover ourselves, we cleanse the dirt and rust of the ego to brighten the light of the spirit within us, just like a vessel. If the glass of a vessel is dirty with stains and mud, it cannot reflect the light inside, but as we clean it, the light begins to shine. As we raise the voice of our soul, we begin to grasp the meaning and depth of all existence. Remembering. Remembering not only the past, but also our essence, our divine connection, our true purpose, our truth. And actually, remembering is a process that continues throughout life. Life constantly presents you with mirrors. Because every experience is a door that reunites you with your essence. Do not be afraid to go through that door, because all the answers you seek are already hidden within you. They are just waiting to be discovered. The truth is also hidden in remembering oneself.